something probably hot sulfur spring. I think that's where I'm at right now. It's northwest of Denver, but like generally north central of Colorado. And I'm glad it's warm in the spot, or rather the sun is making it feel warm, because I drove through mountains with snow on them and I'm like, didn't know where I was going to get to. There's supposed to be a hot spring, which is why it's like hot sulfur spring someplace, but it might be on private property and or like resort property that I don't have access to right now, so we'll see. I recorded a video 2 days ago and I thought a lot of things that I thought were important, but my mic wasn't working and I don't think I can reuse a lot of that video, so I might recap some of the things there here. But I guess to start with, last night there was this Govardhan Puja in ISKCON in Denver that I had gone to, which is super nice. I got invited 2 days before when I just went for just a visit. And after that, I met up with my great buddy, James, who I worked with at my last job. And I know a lot of dads, or rather like friends who are dads, and they're always interesting mix to like coordinate with, because it's like they're always so busy with like life and kid and work that like planning is not always the easiest. So it was like last minute planning essentially, even though we said we were going to meet up for like months before that. So like the biggest thing that I have to say right now is that I feel like this phrase might not come across effectively, but essentially I'm over the road trip by now. And it's not to say like it's lost its like zest or spark, but like I guess there are people who are like living on the road and like that's what they love to do. And I guess my point of saying that is kind of just like I'm not one of those people, as much as I'm definitely appreciating the experience and like everything that's going on. It's just, it affects you, right? And the whole effect of it is hard to explain cohesively, and hopefully through a few different things it'll get there. I don't know if a large part of that, but like some part of that is that whenever I'm passing through cities, I'm like adapting to the environment, to the people, to the culture. And that in and of itself changes a lot of things inside of you that are generally not talked about, which is why I'm finding it hard to find the words to talk about this in general. But on that topic, when I was talking to James last night, like there's so many things we talked about. We talked about recording it, but like it wasn't necessarily like, it was just a lot. And we talked for like 4 hours or maybe even 5 hours, which is crazy. And like the conversation wouldn't have flown as much as it did if we were like trying to record it. There's ice in the water. So one of the things that I've been thinking about recently is what I'm doing on this road trip, in the sense of trying to live by example, reflecting sort of on the experiences I've had so far. It's been a very diverse mix, and there's definitely been a large influence of like Sanatana Dharma and Vedanta, and just like culturally my like identity as like a brown person. And brown is a very broad topic, and there's a specific part of it that I won't talk about, which people who know me know how I feel about this particular thing. But like even when you're considering Indian, Middle Eastern, like the mix going into like East Asia, but like like Nepal, Malaysia, all those other, Indonesia, all those things that are they're East Asian Oriental, but also like there's a mix of like influence on that respect, and then like West Indian, and all of the other groups that fall into that category. It's a very diverse mix, right? And there's been a greater population of like brown people who are like in voices where they can be more influential. And I'm not talking about influencing as like a social influencer or like YouTube influencer, whatever type of social media influencer there is. It's just like in roles of authority and power, and sort of like leadership. Well, that's the actual word I wanted to use, and I couldn't get there. And like, there's definitely colored, quote unquote, like people in higher roles, but not a lot of Indian or brown or just like, people that look like me, essentially. And like, part of me doing this is that a lot of people might not resonate with specifics of like how I chose to live my life almost, but just like being adventurous to like go out, take risks, and live a life that's kind of worth living. And I think the thing I really want to say is that like I never had someone to look up to when I was growing up in terms of like aspirationally like saying like this is the type of life that I could see myself in because there's other people that are like looking like me that doing this. And I guess my whole point for saying that is that I'm trying to be that person for the next generation. There's a very interesting like global conglomerate, if you will, of cultures and countries and societal communities that kind of make up this complex web of interactions that we share with others. And like being American complicates that a little bit further in the sense of there's so many good and negative connotations with being American. When you're considering like the shift between living someplace else, being a first generation, second generation, after second generation, everything after that I would say is essentially American. But this first and second generation transition is where like you don't necessarily get the opportunity to be part of any group in particular. So you're kind of figuring out your life almost in a different sense of like growing up, right? Ironically, the topic of leadership came up in my conversation with James last night too. And he brought up this video that I had watched before, but it was a long time and I haven't seen it since. But there's a video of a guy dancing in a field, and I'll probably just bring it up so I don't have to explain all of it. But like, eventually he gets everyone to dance, right? But he's just this crazy guy dancing, and it just talks to that point of like being the first of anything is hard because you're paving your own way, and while you can borrow support from different avenues, the way that you put it all together is really unique, and that's what defines being a leader almost. So I guess all of that to say, I'm hoping to at least I'm hoping to at least inspire others to look critically at their lives and like decide what it is that they want to do with it. And like whether that's on a technological level, on a finance level, on a psychological level, on a social level, on any sort of level that you want to consider, it's like learning about yourself is super important, and a lot of people don't do it deliberately enough to like have a proper path in life. And like there's like some discovery that you do K through 12, and then there's a large discovery that you do in college if you choose that path. Otherwise, the alternative to college is just jumping right into the workplace and or doing something on your own. And that initial transition from like high school level to like to being an adult essentially is critical. And whether you're in college or not is my whole point. You're going to have a large part of discovery there, and then other people have discoveries like quarter life crises, midlife crises, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, even 60s, 70s, like the decades that they go through things. So what happens generally is that life events happen, and that's what makes people to critically analyze their lives, or like it like an epiphany happens or a revelation happens, and then they're able to like see life differently. But if you're proactive on that, then you don't have to wait for anything to happen in order to like have that realization of like who you are. You can make decisions in order to get you there faster. And there's so many things. There's one thing specifically where there's this guy who has like every month or every quarter there's like different goals that he defines as like this is the number of changes I'm going to have in my life, or like this is the goal for the next couple of months. And like for a year he's like there's like one big thing, and then like it's not like you're planning out 20 years in the future all of these things. It's just like taking it day by day, month by month, year by year, and whatever time period that like you resonate with is essentially like the frequency at which you can like decide to like change or revamp your life almost. So one of the things that I have to fix with just like my public speaking specifically, because I've gotten a lot better, but when I make a point, I usually end on a higher note instead of ending on a lower note. So it feels like there's more coming, even though like I made the point and like I was supposed to just say it on a lower tone to make it feel complete. So yeah, uh, today is day 82. I know this, guys, because I think I know this. I know this. I know this. And like I'll make like a day 90 video for sure, but of what's categorized this third month of the trip is essentially, you guys know I've posted a lot more longer form videos within this last month, and I think that the topics that I'm talking about in terms of energy, like planning but not really planning, just like understanding your life almost is critical. And there's more in that, and I'll definitely like between now and 8 days from now we'll get all of it out. When I ended months 2, right, I was like, oh, I don't know what's gonna happen this last month, but I want to do it because like 90-day, job review type of thing. And ironically enough, like something came of it, even though like it didn't really, wasn't planned in that fashion. So I'm gonna stop talking now because I definitely rambled beyond the point, and even to get to the point, I was like building up, not necessarily effectively. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to Cheyenne, Wyoming. I know Cheyenne how to pronounce it now because James reinforced it in my head last night. I was like Chennai. He's like the name Cheyenne. I'm like, I don't think I've met a lot of people with the name Cheyenne. So all things considered, right? There's a lot going on in everyone's life all the time, and there's a lot of people that we're interacting with. So getting a handle on all of that essentially is a big task, right? And we're all sort of, we have to figure it out on our own because no one teaches it to us effectively, and society doesn't give us a framework to actually operate within it. There are communities out there that like have some sort of structure, but if you're raised in that, there's, all right, that's a different topic. We'll save that for another time. But I guess how I want to end this is that with all of us having our priorities that we're like dealing with, I feel like we have to meet people where they are, right? And that's been a recurring message, I think, in this whole trip as well. So I'm gonna keep doing that. And this is your boy, Nick Humia, signing off.